Coach, if you want to do an opening statement, we're
Yeah,
ready.
obviously, great win last weekend for homecoming. Great job by our guys fighting there for 60 minutes all the way till the end. It took all 60 minutes there, but great job delivering when we had to there at the end. And it's been nice. Obviously, we've shifted our focus full speed here to Miami. It's nice to have back-to-back home games for the first time, but it's also nice to have our first break, if you will. We started the season with a bye week to begin the year before we played game one. So this first time our guys have had a few days, and we tried to take full advantage of giving those guys time off. A lot of guys are beat up, been playing beat up, so it's been nice to get them some extra days of rest. 2 days ago, we did take advantage of having a bonus practice to really invest in working with the young guys. And spend some meeting time with them in the morning, making sure they were brushed up on just offense, defense, and special teams, and really had a nice practice that day. But we've taken advantage. There's a lot of game film to study on Miami. They played 8 games. So obviously we know this football team. They're the defending champions. They've won 3 in a row. They really dominated the last 3 weeks. They had the opening MAC loss on the road at Toledo, and they really dominated the last 3 weeks, played really good football. So it's going to be a great challenge. Obviously, it's a rivalry game as well, another trophy game back-to-back. Our guys are excited about that opportunity, and been glad that we've been able to get a few guys some time to rest up, heal up, and they've done a great job of taking care of, getting extra treatment, getting themselves in the pool, just trying to do the best they can, knowing that, this is the only, window that we've had so far.
Noticed the past 2 weeks, like when you walk through the hallways of the complex, like there's just reminders of the fact that this is a rivalry game, that it's for a trophy, similar to last week, same with this week. Is that by design that you really want to make sure these guys know that?
Yeah, no question. Obviously, last week, going into that game a week ago, it was a 5-game season. Well, now it's a 4-game season, and we're playing some good football teams coming up, and we're only concerned about Miami right now. And again, they're playing as well as anybody is in the conference right now, playing very good complementary football. They're playing well in all 3 phases. And yeah, absolutely, man. When you have a chance, it's a trophy game on top of that. There's certainly something at stake, and our guys know that. And even if there was nothing on the TVs in the hallway to suggest the Redbird Rivalry and all that, our guys still know. And obviously, it's against Miami, and really not a whole lot that needs to be said.
What has given this team trouble when it comes to facing Miami? I think it's 4 years in a row you guys have lost.
Yeah, there's no question. We've had some gut-wrenching endings to some of those games the last 4 years. There's no excuses. We didn't get it done. And so you can point to a number of things, but at the end of the day, we didn't get it done. And they were some gut-wrenching, very tough to swallow, especially 2 of those being the last game of the season, which is tough. When you have those gut-wrenching losses like that, and then you got to swallow that and chew on that as you head into the offseason. Very difficult that way. So you give them credit because they did what it took in order to be able to get the win in a close game at the end. We did not. So, again, I don't really think there's a whole lot that needs to be said to our guys in terms of motivation, anything like that. But we are preparing ourselves for a 60-minute war, a street fight mentality, just like we discussed a week ago. It took all 60 minutes that were on that clock last week, and it's MAC football, man. It's good football, and obviously this is the first, MACtion game of the year. There's going to be a lot, obviously, of people watching. It's great, being on ESPN at 8 o'clock. It's going to seem extremely late by the time that thing starts, but our guys are chomping at the bit to attack this, what we've already done so far. A lot of mental work I had to walk through, but we're excited tomorrow will be what will be our Tuesday. We don't live on Fridays and Saturdays and Sundays anymore. We just talk it. Tomorrow's Tuesday. Tomorrow, Saturday's Wednesday, and just tried to lay out the schedule for the guys, how we'll attack that here over the weekend. The nice thing is that we don't have a class on Saturday and Sunday, and losing a couple guys that have to leave practice early because of class conflicts. It's nice to be able to have them all there.
Is that something that's like at this point it's kind of just routine, and you know exactly how to attack that, where you have to flip the week around?
Yeah, no question. We've been through it. It's obviously being at home back-to-back weeks is great. We'll have as we go to work here on the weekends, there's several guys in our program that have already experienced what that looks like. But at the same time, we do have several new faces in our program this year that they'll be going through MACtion for the first time. So playing on a Tuesday night, yeah, they've watched, teams from the Sun Belt play on Tuesdays and Wednesday nights this past month and all that. But this will be, for the first time for some of those guys playing in the middle of the week, and we just got to make it positive, being the only show in town. And you hear a lot of coaches and a lot of, NFL personnel talk about, watching action games and, how awesome it is to be able to turn that on a Tuesday night and see some really good football.
Gabbard's been a big reason for Miami's
Yep.
success this season. How is the defense approaching this weekend again? Or
Yeah.
I guess not this weekend.
Yeah, he's playing really well. Obviously, last year we did not face him. He played the first 6 games of the year before suffering a season-ending injury. He's as tough as they come, though. He went out for a stretch of the game last weekend against Central Michigan, but he came back. He's tougher than nails, and he'll be back in there. He'll be in there this week, and you can see his experience show up every time you turn the tape on, no matter what game that you watch. He does a good job of getting him in and out of some certain plays, looks, making some adjustments at the line of scrimmage. He does a good job with that. He's seen a lot. He's been exposed to a lot. He's played, high-level football for a long time. So, and they're explosive. They're doing a good job of connecting on some big plays in the passing game, challenging you down the field, and he locates it well. He does a good job. They got good weapons around him there, outside at wide out. So it'll be a great challenge for us. It starts with we got to make him uncomfortable in the pocket, because if you give him time to throw, there's not a coverage, not a look, there's nothing that he hasn't already seen or hasn't already experienced. But it starts with us making sure that we make him uncomfortable in the pocket.
Yeah. As it pertains to the secondary, there were a few penalties late in the game that probably shouldn't have happened from young guys. Is it even more critical that those don't happen when you're facing a quarterback like Gabbard?
Yeah, obviously there's going to be time to time when there's a pass interference call that happens. It's an aggressive play. If you're tight in coverage, the ball could perhaps be underthrown, and then all of a sudden, it leads to a pass interference. The ones that are not acceptable is a personal foul penalty that happened late in the game. We worked hard to get ourselves off the field, and then to have a post-snap personal foul penalty, there's no place for that. I addressed that the day after the game here with the team, and that won't happen again. And obviously, those are the penalties when you talk about beating yourself. And we're fortunate to be able to discuss that and address that coming off of a win, because it could have been the other scenario and been very difficult to swallow that. Obviously, we saw that take place in the NFL the next day. And so, be thankful that we can learn from that mistake, and very confident that will not happen again.
You mentioned playing on ESPN in front of a national TV audience. Do you think any added pressure or anxiety, or is that a motivating factor?
No, I don't think so. I think for some of the guys that families perhaps might not be able to travel to Muncie on Tuesday night, guys that might live in Florida, guys that might not live close to the Midwest, it's awesome for their families, friends, loved ones to be able to tune in and watch the game. That's awesome. And then, but I don't think it adds any pressure to it. I think guys embrace that. They love that. You're the only show in town. Obviously, some of the crowds, when you see the action games, whether it's home or on the road, certainly they're not going to be as good as they are on a Saturday when the weather's great like it was last weekend. It is what it is. We'd love to have a great crowd here on Tuesday night. They'd play such a big part in making this place awesome on Tuesday night. But no matter what, our guys are going to be ready to go, and it's a great opportunity. We're focused really just on the process of attacking it one play at a time against a good football team, because we got to play good football. And so I don't think, being on TV, we're on TV to some degree every week. But I think this is just an awesome opportunity that way, and it's awesome to hear from so many guys already that know it, and some of the NFL personnel that have reached out saying they're going to come to the game on Tuesday night because it fits for them and their schedule to be able to attend in person, which is awesome.
After the kind of rough start to the season, do you think this team has sort of adopted an underdog mentality?
I do. We're getting better. I told the team that Sunday, the day after that. We're getting better every week right now. We've already kind of discussed the beginning of the schedule, the non-conference schedule. It is what it is. But what I see from our team is we're getting better every week, and we're working extremely hard on the practice field, and working extremely hard in the meeting room. And I just see the confidence growing, because now that we're again in MAC play the rest of the way here, that's going to take our best football, and this conference is good, man, and there's competitive high level football week in, week out. And I think our guys are, listen, we were underdogs in the game last week. It is what it is. Nobody cares. All we're worried about is playing the best football that we can.
When you say NFL personnel are coming, are you talking about GMs?
Yes,
scouts,
yes,
all
yeah.
the-
GM scouts that obviously can come because it fits in their schedule on a Tuesday night. So it's nice to hear from them. And, some of the guys in the past, it's unfortunate, but you hear the story that Chip Kelly talked about back in the day when he was at UCLA. That's how he learned of Carson Steele. So we hope those aren't out there anymore, but that's probably real as well. They're going to obviously watch that, and it's a free chance to scout on a Tuesday or Wednesday night because the portal's the portal, and like always at the end of the year, that thing will be crazy just like it always is.
Good point.
Coach, you talked about some of the younger guys playing action for the first time in their career coming up. Have you noticed a difference in energy or mentality since their first rivalry game against Northern in preparation for this one?
Well, obviously, we're getting ready to get into what a normal week would look like starting tomorrow. I think that the biggest challenge guys will have, it won't be practice. They'll be great with that. The hardest and most difficult challenge will be Tuesday. There's a long window there when we're in the hotel, a long window for about 4 hours after after we have lunch and finish our meetings in the morning. There's a long window from about 12 to 4. We'll do some things academically that way, but that'll be the toughest challenge because there's absolutely nothing on TV on a Tuesday. It's not like you can be in your room laying low, turn on a football game, watch that to pass the time. That's always the toughest challenge when you play action games, but our guys will do a good job staying on task. We've already discussed that at length, with the staff and all that, and having a plan that afternoon to make sure that there's not such a big void there with a window. But it's a great opportunity, and just glad that we're home again back-to-back weeks. It's nice. The first time this year that's happened.
Anything more for Coach? All right. Vaughn
Thanks,
and
guys.
George are
Happy
underway.
Halloween.
Thanks, Coach.
Good. How are you guys doing? Good.
Yeah, go ahead, have a seat, absolutely. All right, George Udo, we'll just open it with questions. Go right ahead.
We know earlier in the season, during a lot of the non-conference schedule and just before these last 2 games, we heard a lot about how the defense in particular needed a confidence boost. How far does last week's win and forcing as many turnovers as you did go in establishing confidence?
I think it's a big thing because, winning the turnover margin by +4, like that's how you win games, or at least that's how you help the team win games. So it's given us a real big confidence boost. And even as the season's gone on, like we've been continuing on to get better as a defense, and understanding it, in the ins and outs of it. So I think that's it. Yeah.
I know, again, earlier in the season, like guys like Keontae were talking about potential communication issues with the defense. Is it safe to say that those are pretty much gone at this point?
Oh yeah, it's gone.
Yeah.
Like we got everything squared away. No communication problems, and that's a major reason why we've been playing a lot better these last couple of weeks.
Yeah. What has been the difference these past couple of weeks for this defense?
I believe it is just energy. Like Coach Neu has been emphasizing, bringing the juice every single play, and I think that's what's been what's kind of been a big change because kind of before we, the energy wasn't really there, and when Coach Neu brought it up during practice, we, everybody bought in, and we could see how it's affected the team.
Do you pride yourself on being a guy who's going to force those turnovers, because we've seen that multiple times this year?
That's what I want to do, man. I want to get picks. I want to get that ball as much as I can when I get the opportunity. So, yeah.
Is that kind of part of the new sniper position?
I'd say the sniper position, it's really just like a combination of like everything in the defensive backfield. Like sometimes we'll line up at corner, we'll play like a deep half, drop in the post, cover slot receiver or tight end. It's just being really versatile in those roles and being able to do all those things. That's kind of like what the sniper position is.
What has made you comfortable with wearing all those different hats, being able to play really any position on the defense?
I think it's just my experience from my previous schools. Like at BYU, I played corner, played safety, nickel, linebacker, and just being in those rooms and learning, the game of football from those perspectives, it's, really helped me overall as a football player and, being ready for the sniper position.
How are you feeling about playing on a Tuesday night at 8 o'clock? I mean, that's something that you really haven't experienced before, I don't think.
It's gonna be interesting. Yeah, it's gonna be my first time playing on Tuesday. So, we've just been treating it, as we normally would a game week. We got a couple days off, but we're getting, back to practicing like we normally would during a week.
Yeah, and then I know like that Northern Illinois win was huge in terms of morale. I know since it's a rivalry game, it's for a trophy, but that was your first time experiencing that trophy game. What was it like to celebrate with the team kind of for the first time against Northern Illinois?
Man, it was awesome. Just, I could feel from everybody else like how big this rivalry was, and especially when Coach Neu was talking about it throughout the week, I kind of pictured kind of like a rival in my head that I had, at my old schools, and I just kind of like pictured it like that. It's something that's very important to everybody here, and because of that, it's important to me. That's kind of like how I saw it.
What would you say from your former schools was like the equivalent of Ball State versus Northern?
Utah, man.
Utah.
Utah, yeah.
Makes sense.
You got your first interception with Ball State the other day against NIU. What was that moment like after? Because, there was some contention, it had to get reviewed, but once it got confirmed that it was an interception, what was that moment like on the sideline?
Man, it was awesome. I know, like, when I caught it, I just, I got my foot in, and I just hear everybody around me screaming. I'm like, yeah, like this is dope. But when they said I was in, I was just, I was pumped. Like, I finally got that interception, and hopefully I can possibly get another one, or do my best to do that. So that's kind of like what was going on in my head when that happened.
How have you and the rest of the defense been preparing for a quarterback like Gabbard, who's one of the more experienced, talented guys in the conference?
I'd say a lot of it just dials down to being in the film room and understanding what he's trying to do. And I think when we're watching film, we just kind of look at like past concepts, formations. What does he go to? Who are his top targets? We kind of break all that down, and that's just really what it comes down to, just watching film and understanding what the offense is trying to do.
This might be a stupid question, but when you've got your hands on the ball, you're about to make an interception, are you immediately thinking like, I got to get my foot down inbounds?
I feel like I don't know. I think it was just kind of like muscle memory.
Okay.
Just because, I guess as DBs, we also practice, catching the ball and then keeping our feet in. So like once I caught it, it just, I just naturally just put my foot down and try to stay in bounds. Yeah.
The amount of focus that has to take is crazy to me. Can't even imagine. So.
Mm.
George, you talked about being in the film room, looking at Gabbard and all of his targets that are big targets for him. What does a guy like Kyle Kelly bring to that film room, since he's played everywhere on the field, quarterback, running back, DB? Does he bring any special insight?
Let's say he's mainly with the offense, but when talking to him, he helps us understand QB's like reads, and I don't know, really just I'd say like he's mainly like on the offensive side of the ball like right now, but when you sit down and talk to him, he knows like how quarterbacks reads are, like quarterbacks progressions, and just having discussions with him, like it really helps us as DBs understand like, okay, in this coverage, what does he see, and what receiver is he gonna go to based off of what he sees, and it just helps us play a lot faster when that happens.
Anything else for George? All right, George, thank you very much. Vaughn Pemberton is up. Thanks, George.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Questions for Vaughn? Go ahead, fellas.
I just want to talk a little bit about the duo that we have in the backfield with you and
Mhm.
Sloan. How do you guys work off of each other, and have you ever really been a part of a duo like this?
I really haven't been a part of a running back duo, not in high school or yet in college, except for now. I think we help each other with our different running styles. He's more of a make you miss type of guy, and I'm more of a power run through you type of guy. And we can both do what each other does, but he's better at one and I'm better at the other. So I think we just help each other in that way, and the defense doesn't necessarily know what to expect.
Yeah, I know the weather doesn't look great for next Tuesday. Do you know yet if it's anticipated to be more of a run-heavy game for you guys?
I do not know yet. I haven't looked at the weather, but at the end of the day, it's football. If coach decides to run the ball, then we're going to run the ball. If he decides to pass the ball, then we got to do our job at the end of the day.
Yeah. Do you ever prepare any differently when you know like the weather isn't going to be great?
Not really. Maybe not wear gloves so I can get a better grip on the ball, but not really. I never really wear sleeves or anything like that. So,
Yeah. How do you go about preparing for a game when it's at 8 o'clock on a weekday? I know Mike talked about there being long gaps in the hotels where there's not really anything to do. Like, what do you do during that time to kind of stay focused?
I mean, at the end of the day, is you get an opportunity to play, and not everybody gets these opportunities to play college football, D1 football. So at the end of the day, I'm grateful for the opportunity, and I love this game, and I know my teammates do too. So I know that they're going to be ready. I know I'm going to be ready when the time comes. So I don't think it's a matter of being stuck in a hotel or being like, so long until we play. I just think we're excited to be there. We're grateful to be there.
Yeah. Is there more excitement when it comes with being on ESPN?
100%. Knowing that we're the only show in town, and you don't really have, if you love football, if you like football, you're gonna turn on the game at some point on Tuesday night. So I think that's definitely exciting, knowing that everybody has access to it, and yeah.
Would you say there's more pressure or more excitement knowing that there's also going to be NFL scouts and GMs at the game?
Probably more excitement, knowing that opportunity is closer, is more within reach with them being at the game. I would definitely say it's more excitement than the nerves, because it's stuff we've been dreaming about since we were kids. So I think any way of us getting closer to that dream is very exciting.
Yeah. We know how last Saturday felt when you win a rivalry game and retain the trophy, but the last 4 years it hasn't gone great against Miami. What's the difference in feeling there? Like how big of a difference is there when you lose a rivalry game?
I would say it's a game still, but there's definitely a little bit more of a hurt to it, especially last year's game against Miami, the way that went down at the end of the game. And I just think it just fuels us even more to go win this week. So.
On Saturday, that opening drive, you guys went down, scored a touchdown the first drive, but the way you went about the drive, it was just run, pound the rock. What is it like to come out first game, start it like that, just running right through their face like that?
I think it felt really good, and to know that we have the defense on their heels, and to know that they really don't know what to do with us, that it just felt really good being able to go out there and dominate another team the way we did.
And then early in the season, it seemed like kind of a top-heavy carry distribution with Braden getting a lot more of the touches, and then the last couple of weeks you've really worked your way into the rotation more, sort of a change of pace, power back. So how has it been just like getting more of those reps, getting increased opportunities?
I was dealing with the injury before, so I was kind of limited, and now it's kind of what it was in the beginning of camp, where we're feeding off of each other and we're helping each other, watching the tablets on the sideline and coaching each other up on what we would have done here or what they would have done in a certain situation. So it's just we help each other, and I think it's very good to have a rotation the way we do.
How much do you think that helps the offense as a whole?
I think it definitely opens up the pass game a lot because, I can go run routes, I can catch the ball, so can Braden. Braden can run the ball, and so can I. So the defense doesn't always know what to expect with both of us being out there, whether it's in a two-back set or whether one of us is out there on a third down. They don't know if we're going to run the ball or if we're going to pass it. So.
Anything else, Steven, up top? Anybody? All right, that concludes our presser. Vaughn, thank you very much.
No problem.
George, thank you both. Thanks, Vaughn.